What up, good people, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Thorough, where we give you the real behind business, health, money, and self development, and introduce engaging concepts to help you elevate your performance in all areas of life. I'm your host, Cedric Lavelle, joined by my counterpart, Mr. E. Double.
Yes, sir. It's your boy E Double. We back at y'all, season 3, episode 115. And the title of this
Man,
episode is Future Proofing Your Finances Against Inflation. Very good topic. Inflation is real. I think a lot of us are dealing with the effects of it. As always, be sure to check out the kit that corresponds with this episode on keepitthorough.com/kits. And be sure to podcast with us wherever your podcast. And without further ado, let's go and get to it, Sid.
absolutely, man. Let's get to it, man. So, according to the U.S. Bureau. I don't know. I'm from Houston. Maybe it's Bureau.
Bureau, I
Maybe it's
think.
Bureau. Okay, yeah, we're gonna say Bureau of Labor Statistics. In March of this year, 2024, the U.S. was still experiencing elevated inflation rates, and
There's actually
just
some reports
according,
that just came out today that it was rising, which caused the mortgage rates to go up.
yeah, it's ugly out there. And just according to my budget in my most recent grocery bill, I would say that those that they're accurate in their assessment of what's going on. And we all know just the effects of the pandemic, the aftermath, certain things that have went on, and the challenges that were brought about as a result of it. And just going through that experience, I think a lot of people have seen that just in the area of finances, the many struggles, the many challenges, the many setbacks, the many um, different problems that have come about as a result of inflation. I've heard so many people speak about making more money, but feeling like their income um, is having less of an impact. That they're not having the impact, or seeing the benefits of even having more of an income, right? And so when you think about that and just the impact of that, I'm making more money, but because inflation is so high, I'm not seeing the benefits. I need more money.
All right, welcome back. After some technical difficulties, we got said back, man. There was a little power issue, but we rocking and rolling. Do you know where you left off?
I think I was finished.
Okay, cool. So
I was
all
gonna say
right.
that. I think I was. Yeah.
All right, so cool. So I got a couple statistics for y'all, right? To follow up on what Sid was saying, right? So um I guess the long-term average for inflation is 3.28%, right? And last year, inflation was about 4.98%. So take that in mind when Sid talks about you making more money, but you don't feel it, right? Because if you get a raise that's less than 4.98%, you really didn't get a raise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
For
like when
sure.
people talk about like how $1 million today was like, you know, $2.5 million in 1940 or whatever, right? That's why, because of inflation. And it's just simply your money could buy more than, right? So the value is still the same, right? $1 million is still $1 million, but how far does it go? What is your purchasing power with that $1 million? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's really kind of, where it comes in. And to be real with you, when I was younger, and even in my like early mid 20s, I didn't really completely understand inflation. Like, what do you mean? Like, my money's worth less. Like, what do you like? I didn't understand it, right? But now I have a very, very, very a better understanding. Very better. That don't sound right. I have a better understanding of it now. But so as we move along, right, the influence of inflation extends beyond just economics, though, right?
Right.
So it
Absolutely.
forces that, it's a force that directly impacts your lifestyle. How you're living, your savings, how much money you got extra to save, and the investment on your returns. which the stock market, which is also directly impacted by inflation reports, and things of that nature. So for individuals, right, just regular common folk, inflation can mean that every dollar saved today will be worth less tomorrow. And that's very big, because I know me and, a lot of folks, we're taught to save, 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 save for a rainy day. Well, saving money doesn't make you money. And typically, if you even have like a savings account that's giving you back money, it's normally like 1%, or even a high yield savings account might be a couple percent, but it's not 5, 6, 7. You know what I'm saying? So saving money, you're going to have less purchasing power in the future. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and save this, but it's worth less later, right? So you need to invest, right? But this depleting view, right, of saving money and it being worth less tomorrow, this depleting view can shift the confidence in your future purchasing power, making it harder to maintain and elevate your standard of living. And I know a lot of people deal with that, right? I literally just seen on Facebook where people were complaining about how a 2-bedroom apartment is over $2,000, and then the people are wanting like 3 times the rent and like a credit score over 700, and people are like, what the hell? And I seen a real estate agent post, if my client had those things, they wouldn't be renting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they'd be trying to purchase, right? But that just goes to show you, right? I know when I first moved to Houston, I had a 1-bedroom, almost, I don't know, close to 800 square foot apartment, high vaulted ceilings and all that. It was 808. And then I paid $858 for 2 parking spots. I know that same apartment right now is probably $1,500. And that was 13 years ago. So it just goes to show you how quickly,
Things
you know what I
change.
mean, the price of things go up, and how, what $800 would have got you then versus what did it get you now? $800 now for an apartment probably gonna get you something in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or slightly better, for Houston at least. But that depleting view, it'll mess with your confidence, and makes it hard to maintain and elevate your standard of living, which we all should be striving for. You want to maintain and get better, right? But for investors, right? So not the common folk, but those who are investing, inflation reminds them of the constant battle between earning returns and maintaining purchasing power, right? As you invest money, it makes money, and typically you want not typically, you want your returns to outpace inflation. That's how you beat inflation, by making more money, by
Right.
making more money than how fast inflation is increasing. So if inflation is going at a clip of 6% a year, or what was the statistic I gave, 4.98% a year, you want your returns on your money to be higher than that, so then you can maintain your purchasing power and actually increase it, right?
Right.
So now, yeah, these things cost more, but I also have more money, right? So everybody technically deals with inflation, but everybody doesn't feel the effects of inflation the same because of things like that, right? So hey, to this person, hey man, that's crazy expensive. Well, to this person, well, yeah, it's expensive, but like I've been preparing for this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not that bad. But that when in relation to the investors, right, this underscores the importance of selecting investment vehicles that promise returns and protection against inflationary pressures. So that just basically outlines what I just
What
said,
you just
right?
said. Yeah.
You want to select certain types of investments that promise returns that outpace inflation, basically, and understanding the connection between inflation and financial well-being is crucial for anyone looking to thrive in an ever-changing economic landscape. And you have to pay attention to it and be aware of it and know how to combat it, or you're going to fall victim to it. And it's just that simple.
Simple as that. And just like E was just saying, just being I would say just being financially aware of what's going on and just the impact that it may have on you. um it pays in the long run, right? And we've had episodes that we've done in the past where we always talk about being an active participant in your finances, not allowing just the time to go by. And as things go on, you're not doing any type of research. You're not picking up any type of books. You're not becoming more financially literate. You have to put in some time and put in some effort and put in some energy to understand the economics of things, how things work, understand the ins and the outs of finances. Now you don't have to be an expert or a guru, but having some general knowledge can be highly impactful for yourself and also for your family as well too. And then just having certain strategies and principles and pillars that you go by will offer you significant support. So we could think about things like leveraging compound interest, right? And so a key strategy to, like E was saying, counteract inflation involves just channeling funds into assets that benefit from compounding interest. And this particular approach, where your earnings generate additional earnings, can effectively eclipse the pace of inflation and just safeguard or even enhance your buying power over time. I mean, he had alluded to that. You know, when you're making more money and you have a significant amount of income that's coming in that you're managing and that you're budgeting properly, and you can outpace inflation, that's how you can combat it. That's how you can keep yourself with a strengthened purchasing power as these things um, kind of subside, or as they kind of even themselves out over time, right? Because everything has its peaks and everything has its valleys. You know, it has its highs and it has its lows, and so you just want to be able to kind of just wade it out, right? And with a strategy and with effective planning, you'll be able to keep yourself in a position where you're not significantly impacted in a negative way as inflation kind of has its uncertainties. Then the next thing that you want to do is just have holistic financial planning. And this can go from an investor, this can go from just your regular personal finances, you know. And so broadening your financial planning beyond just investment portfolios to include aspects like emergency funds, insurance, and debt management can act as a comprehensive shield against inflation's unpredictability. And we know it's unpredictable when it's going to change, and how it's going to affect us. You know, you can never be too sure. But by establishing a well-rounded financial plan that includes things like liquid savings for emergencies or adequate insurance coverage, these particular things just offer a strategy that'll allow you to have some sort of economic health. You know, it keeps you in good condition. You know, you think about the physical body when you're working out and when you're exercising routinely, and you have a certain plan or strategy that you go about to maintain your health. Same thing with your finances, right? Having a certain plan, having a strategy, having something that you do routinely is impactful, and it pays long term. And then just the last thing is just, again, having those regular financial health checkups, you know. So staying proactive by regularly reviewing and adjusting your financial plan to adapt to the current economic environment, that's crucial. You know, like I was saying, be an active participant. You know, involve yourself in what's going on so you can be well aware of what needs to take place, right? So understanding that you may have to reassess your budget to allocate more money towards savings, or during times of low inflation, or cutting down on non-essential expenditures and focusing on debt reduction when inflation is high. You know, so having those strategies, being able to analyze your finances and see where you're at, seeing where more money can go in one place and be less in another, right? You know, and having that method, or having that process helps you remain on track, and significantly improves your economic well-being for now, and then obviously for later as well too.
For sure. And it's just important that we adapt to this inflationary world, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
one thing for certain is inflation ain't going nowhere. Now, um, how big of a jump we see from month to month, or quarter to quarter, or year to year, is uncertain. And since COVID, we've seen coming out of COVID, we've seen some crazy inflation numbers, and just the economy has been a roller coaster. We've been supposed to go into a recession for however long now, but then jobs numbers come out and they up, and it's just very, very confusing. But inflation is high right now, right? It's very high, and inflation has a universal impact, and its reach goes beyond just your daily spending, right? So it can deeply affect the financial well-being of those it touches, and brings about stress, uncertainty, while challenging one's monetary resilience. And we just talked about this, right? Like it has it affects everybody, quote unquote, right? But it doesn't really touch everybody the same,
Mm-hmm.
based off of the examples that we gave earlier. So, the ones that it does touch and negatively affects, it does bring about those challenges, right? Like as that rent constantly going up and they've been getting these 3% raises, it's like, damn, like a larger percentage of my income is going towards my rent, even though I'm making more money, and then groceries are going up. It's like I got less money. Like, how am
Right.
I making more, but I got
But I
less?
got less. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
And
that
that can be
causes
defeating, man.
no, and that can be extremely defeating, right?
That
It's
can be
like
hurtful.
I didn't got a raise every year for the last 5 years. But then when you look back in those raises, it's been 3%, 5%, 6%, 2%, 1%, 5%, 3%. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, damn, where has inflation been? And then you look
Right.
back and it's like, well, damn, inflation is outpacing the rate at which
The
I've been
raise.
getting raises.
Yeah.
And that's actually why millennials are more likely to switch jobs and not stay at jobs.
Yep.
Because if they're not getting big enough raises, it's more uh advantageous. Or I said that word hella wrong.
Advantageous.
Advantageous,
Advantageous. Yeah.
advantageous, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
To switch companies, right? Because
Yeah.
coming into a new company with a very steep skill set, you can make more than somebody who's been there for a long time and just been getting raises, right? So that's why they say millennials. I can't forget the exact number of years, but I think it's like 2 to 3 years where they switch jobs.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So the reality is this: if you're at a company and they're and you do a good job and you're not just there slacking, but you do a good job and they're not rewarding you and you're not getting a raise or a promotion every couple of years to outpace inflation, you might want to think about moving around. You might want to move on to a new company, new organization that's going to pay you your worth, and you're
Yeah.
not wrong for that. You're not wrong for that at all. But what was I? So as the cost of living climbs, right, which we talked about, individuals face tough choices and test their adaptability, leading to feelings of vulnerability and financial concern for the future. Which, a lot of what we just talked about, being able to save, not being able to keep up with rent, paying for daycare, groceries,
Kids and
gas,
groceries. Yeah.
car payment, interest rates, all of those different things, man. It definitely leaves you feeling very vulnerable. And then, say for instance, you want to buy a car, but the interest rates are crazy and the cost of vehicles are extremely high, and you can't because it's just not affordable. Or you can, but now you have to go with something way less than what you want because it's the only thing you can afford. Whereas if you were to go back 6 months, it was like, damn, I would have got more for my money then. Interest rates were lower, the vehicles cost less, but you know, now is when you need it.
Yeah.
So creates a very difficult and tough situation, right? The power of adaptability and strategic foresight is the key to weathering those type of emotional storms, though, right? So embracing a mindset geared towards strategic planning navigates one through the economic challenges of inflation and boosts your confidence and resilience. As you are investing in maybe whether the stock market or real estate or a business, and you're seeing returns yearly of 10%, 20%, 50%, 110%, whatever the case may be. Which you're not seeing that in the stock market. Stock market ain't returning that. And that crypto, you might see some returns crazy like that, like 1,000% or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever return you're seeing that's outpacing inflation, that's going to boost your confidence. It's going to give you more confidence in those different investment vehicles. It's
Right.
going to make you be more willing to take, even um, more higher risk type of things, right? And you know how I define risk. Risk is defined to me by lack of knowledge. The more you know about something, the less riskier it becomes. Not to say that there's still not going to be an element of risk, but it becomes less risky
That's
by
risky.
educating yourself. But a shift towards proactive financial management fosters optimism and forward-looking perspective, which are crucial for maintaining mental sharpness and a positive outlook, regardless of the economic climate. Right.
That's a good place to
So
be in.
yeah, you got to be proactive. Because when you're proactive, you didn't had 5, 6 great years, and then you have one bad year and inflation is high, you can weather that storm. You know, you're cool. And you can bounce back. Get back on track, and you've been outpacing inflation for all of these years. A little minor setback ain't gonna hurt you that much. You can continue on. But now, if you're on the opposite end of that, and you have been getting raises or whatever your source of income is, and it's been not growing at the same pace of inflation, then it gets very, very difficult, and it's harder. It becomes harder and harder and harder to get out of that hole and to increase your purchasing power. And a lot of people
Yeah.
are dealing with that right now with purchasing houses. Because the cost of houses, like inflation, went crazy. The mortgage rates went crazy. Well, first the housing prices went crazy, right? So well, I ain't even gonna say right in the middle, because I actually built this house during COVID, and the prices were actually low because I sold my old house and didn't get as much as I wanted for it. But if I would have waited 6 months, I'd have got way more. But I won on this house, right? They were way low, and then the interest rates were less. Well, what ended up happening is the interest rate stayed low, but then demand went up, and there wasn't enough because the interest rates were so low. Everybody were buying, and there wasn't enough inventory, which created demand. And then now the prices went through the roof, right? Now the prices have stayed high, but now interest rates have gone up, which I'm not going to pretend to be an economy expert, or get to talking to y'all about the GDP and all the crazy stuff, right? But from my understanding, there's a direct correlation between inflation and interest rates with the money that they're lending out and giving out, right? Because
Right.
they want to
Yeah.
slow the amount of money circulating to try
Circulating.
to
Yeah.
combat inflation, right? So when Trump was in office and was giving out all that money, and which I'm not really gonna blame that on Trump, because if any president that would have been in office and we were dealing with a pandemic, you know what I mean? Businesses and individuals needed relief. Now, all those tax breaks he gave before that to all them corporations and all that, that also added to inflation, which I will blame on him. You know what I'm saying? But it's I said all that to say this, right? It's very important to have a proactive financial management mindset, right?
Yeah.
Look for ways to invest your money. Definitely save some money and have some money in your savings for like quick things, like, I don't know, maybe you got to get your car towed. Maybe there's some repairs you got to get done to your car, some repairs you got to get done to your house. You want to take a trip or something. So keep a little money in your savings, but the bulk of that should be invested. If you got $500 in your savings, okay, keep 200 in there and invest 300. If you got $1,000 in your savings, keep 300 in there and invest 700. You got 10,000 in your savings. You know what I'm saying? Keep a couple thousand in there, invest 8,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, the bulk of any extra money that you have should be being invested. And then with the gains you make from that money, do the things that you want to do, you know? And that goes back to Said's whole, point he made about compounding interest, right? And all of those things, right? Like, you want to invest your money and then have fun with that, with the gains you make from that invested money. And then that
Yeah.
money is going to continue to make more money, right? Um, but yeah, man, just
That's
gotta be
it.
proactive.
Got to be proactive, man, and understanding just the climate and how things are um, across the world. When we think about just the majority of people, there's an understanding that a lot of people are in a very challenging financial situation. So a lot of what we say may seem um, doable for some, and maybe others may have a feeling of uncertainty, or feel that it's impossible to get to that place. But I'll say this: I know we've had an episode about this in the past. Maybe it was money mindset or something along those lines. But we spoke about just a lot of the financial struggles that people will have but understanding that with a very negative outlook or perspective on your financial future and your financial well-being, that's not going to support you. That's not going to give you an opportunity to move into a direction where you can be financially free, where you can have some financial comfort, or have an opportunity to really see yourself getting on the other side, to experience abundance. And it's there for everybody. It's available for anybody
No,
who seeks it and
absolutely.
anybody who wants it. And you really just have to speak that into existence and believe that you're capable, right? Yeah, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some learning. It's going to take some mistakes that you're going to make. But what's it going to cost you, right? Like how much is it going to cost you? It's going to cost you some time, some energy, maybe a few dollars to invest in some resources. But when you look at what's on the other end of that, right? When you look at what the possibility is, that should be enough to excite you, to influence or motivate you to move forward. Because obviously, if you do nothing, what's going to happen? Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to.
Oh, my bad, said.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, so many people look at investing money as if they're spending it, and I've said that before. Like, you're not spending it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there's
Right.
a little bit of risk associated where you could potentially lose it, and you should go into certain investments with the realization that you could
That's a
potentially lose it.
possibility. Yeah.
But if you're making smart strategic investments, the chances of that happening is low, right? And then again, to go back to risk levels, the more you educate yourself about some things and then you make these investments, it's an investment. You're not spending, you're investing, right? You're going to get the money back and then some. And it's hard for a lot of people to see that, especially if they haven't gone through it, because they look at that savings and say they only got $500-600 in the savings account.
Right.
Well, man, this is all I got. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna take this and I don't know what the hell this is. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna invest it
Right.
in there. What? I'm gonna lose it then? What? I could have went and bought me a plane ticket to Vegas or
Yeah.
something. You know what
Go,
I'm
go,
saying? Because
go
they can
enjoy
they
a
can
moment.
right? They can see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know what that looks like. They know what that feels like, but they don't know the other side of that. And that's where you got to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of due diligence that some of these things you only got to learn once. You need to continue learning new things, but then once you have a better understanding, it pays tenfold.
Right.
And it pays dividends, pun intended.
Pun
You
intended.
know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
For sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. You know what I mean? And moving down the right path, um, obviously is what will help you get to that place of financial uh comfort and have that monetary resilience, right? So five key things that you definitely want to focus on within this process. So we've said this before, and we'll say it again. So one, just regularly review and adjust your budget, right? So monitor inflation, see what's going on, and just adjust your spending and saving habits to ensure your budget reflects the actual value of money. You know what I'm saying? So just be aware. That's the main thing. Be aware, be mindful, and make adjustments when it's necessary. The next thing you want to do is just increase your financial literacy, right? You don't know what you don't know, but when you find out, you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? So understanding the economic indicators that predict inflation can help you make informed decisions about your finances and your investments. Simple as that. Next thing you'll want to do is just practice mindful spending. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can do during this period. Have some mindful spending. Be aware of what you're doing, right? So adopt a habit of mindful spending by evaluating the necessity and value of each purchase. Again, I'll say that adopt a habit of mindful spending by evaluating the necessity and value of each purchase, right? So prioritizing needs over wants becomes essential during inflationary periods. And so by reducing unnecessary expenses, you can allocate more resources to saving and investing, further protecting yourself against inflation's impact. Yes, a sacrifice that you got to make right now, but when you think about it long term, there are significant benefits by you just being mindful of your spending. Next thing is just seek professional advice. If it's needed, go find a professional or find somebody who's well versed and very knowledgeable, right? And so a financial advisor can provide personalized strategies for inflation proofing your investment portfolio based on your risk tolerance and financial goals. So whether it is from an investment standpoint, or you as an investor, or even just in your personal finances, having somebody who can give you some of the ins and outs, and kind of just give you a play by play on what you should look for and what you should do can be beneficial. But again, as we say in all of our conversations, do your due diligence, right? Be an active participant in what's going on. That way you can ask the right questions. That way you can have some sort of understanding of what a person is telling you, and you're not allowing them just to feed you information when you have no idea of what's going on. So do your due diligence, be an active participant to understand. That way you can ask the right questions, and then you know what answers to look for. And then the last thing is just focus on income growth. So look for opportunities to increase your income through upskilling, pursuing higher paying positions, or starting a side business to outpace inflation. So if you currently have a career or you're currently working somewhere, upskill. What can you learn? You know what I mean? What can you start doing better? What opportunities are there for you to go through some courses where you can get a different skill set, which makes it looks better on your resume? Then you could potentially look for that job change or the career change, or navigate somewhere else to find a different opportunity at another business, or even with a side business. If you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, there may be an opportunity there. But again, being proactive is the main thing. Don't just sit there and just allow things to happen and just say, "Oh man, this is whack. This sucks. Like, why the government doing this, and this, and you're doing nothing?" No, be proactive, be an active participant, seek out opportunities, and then when you do that, you'll reap the benefits in the end for sure.
Yeah, we got to put an exclamation point on the end of that, and especially the focus on your income growth part, because that's one of the major keys. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, obviously, more income's only gonna go so far if you ain't got the literacy to go along with it.
Or the discipline.
The discipline and spending habits and all those things. But
Yeah.
that's the number one key to outpacing inflation, is to increase your income. To grow your income. And so many people sit back, man, and just live life. They let their money control them. They get a paycheck, they work for that paycheck, they pay them bills, go out, have fun, go back to work, do it all over again. They have no idea, or let me not say they have no idea. They're doing nothing to increase their income. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And to grow their income at like a faster clip, or at like a faster pace. And we have to, you have to focus on that if you want to continue to stay ahead of inflation, and you know provide a decent lifestyle. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I know a lot of people. So many, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna just be real for a second. So many people talk about like how money ain't that important, and money is this and money ain't that.
That's a
And
damn lie.
the thing is I don't hear rich people say that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I only hear broke people say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only hear people who don't have. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying money is everything, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? Money is absolutely not. If you know, if you don't got a spouse, if you're a bad person and you don't, got friends, if you don't got family, if you don't, got anything to look forward to, like, a lot of money ain't gonna do nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna
Right.
be lonely and miserable. You know what I'm saying? With all this money. But I'm saying for, good people, you got family, kids, friends, to be able to really enjoy this world, to be able to really enjoy this life, like, you need, things cost
You
money.
need things
You
cost
know what I'm
money.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
houses cost money, cars cost money, trips cost money, food costs money to live. You know what I mean? Lights, you know what I mean? Everything costs money.
Cost money.
So, to be comfortable, we need money. And,
Yeah.
to make more of it allows you to be more comfortable.
More
You know what
comfortable.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a direct correlation. You know what I'm saying? So for people who downplay the importance of money, I extremely disagree with that. Now, yes, it's not going to have the same level of importance for everybody. You know what I mean? But it is very important,
Yeah.
regardless of who you are. You know.
And if if you read your Bible, or if you ever in scripture, it says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And just that infatuation is where you're losing yourself from a money perspective, right? When you're just wanting to it consumes you and it's all you
Yeah.
think about, and you're doing things that aren't um of service or of benefit, then yeah, that's where you may have an issue. But
Yeah,
when you're
you don't
someone
got
with a good
integrity. You
heart,
know what I mean? You
that's a
you
different
doing yeah,
situation, right? The more money you get, the more you give. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
When you're looking at it from that perspective. And so just think about it. Man, you making $40,000 right now, but you build a business that's profitable and you start making $500,000. Like, look at what you can do with what you're making now. Whose life you can impact because of what you're making. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
when you look at it
exactly.
from that perspective, it's like, yeah, no, money means a lot.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? It has its benefits. It's just where your heart at. You know what I'm saying? Where your heart and
exactly.
where your head is. That makes the difference for sure.
No, that was a very good point, said. So cool. So in summary, you know, striving to move forward, right? That's what we all should be doing every single day. You know, you should be striving to make today better than yesterday. And you want tomorrow to be better than today, and so on and so forth, right? But navigating the currents of inflation requires a keen understanding, strategic planning, and proactive adjustments to your financial practices. So just take a second to ask yourself, what am I doing to combat inflation? Just ask yourself that, right? And now the answer to that, there's thousands of answers to that are correct. There's not one correct answer to that, right? Because one of them can be I'm busting my ass at work, and the last 3 years I didn't got a raise every year, or I didn't been promoted every year. You know, first year I got a 15% raise. Second year I got a 5% raise. The third year I got a new position, which was more money, which equated to a 20% rate. Whatever the case, hey, you doing your thing. You know what I mean? Keep
Absolutely.
that up. You know what I'm saying? You're doing something to combat inflation. Your answer could also be, hey, I invest in real estate, and I invested X amount of money, and I'm at a point now where I'm seeing a 8% return in profit every year on my real estate investment. You winning. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You could invest in the stock market and see, the stock market been going crazy the last few years, like the last year and some change. Really, this year too, which we're only a quarter in, but stock market been doing good lately. But you could say you up, 12%, 13%, or whatever the case may be. Hey, good for you. You know what I mean? You're doing something to combat inflation. But now if you say nothing, right? Or another one could be like starting a business. You started a business and your business is doing good, and you're making, X amount per percent per year, you know what I mean? As long as it's higher than inflation, you want to make sure it's higher than inflation. Or
Right,
at least
right.
you're working towards that point.
Towards that.
Because
Yeah.
say the first few years your business didn't do much, but it was an investment though. Because most businesses aren't profitable, they say, for 5 years, right? So say you invest in this business, and every year you're seeing an increase. You know what I mean? Where in the next 5 to 6 years you're gonna be, I don't know, seeing a return of 10, 15, 20% on your money every year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you winning. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't have an answer, you should be looking into one. You should be looking into something that you can do to combat inflation,
Right.
and start
Yep.
small. Invest in some index funds. Take, $50 a month, $20 a month, however much you got to spare, and start investing in some index funds. And you can do that by go find you an investment broker, right? You can use Robinhood. You can go to E Trade. You can go to. I know a lot of people have 401ks through Fidelity. You know what I mean? That's a broker. You can purchase index funds through them. However you do it, or you can go to a financial advisor and work with a financial advisor, which only really kind of recommend that once you start investing more money, right? Because
Right.
there's going to be fees and things that you need to pay, which if you're investing a decent amount of money, it's worth it. You know what I mean? But whatever you're doing, invest that money, invest that money. But by embracing proven and practical strategies, you can protect your purchasing power, secure your financial future, and find opportunities for growth amid the challenges of inflation. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. The stock market has shown that it will make you money. It's basically damn near created to make you money. You
Yeah.
just got to play the game right. Be smart. Don't invest with your heart and invest with your mind. You know what I mean? Be smart, right?
Don't
And if you
invest
don't
with
know
your
where to
heart, invest with your
start,
head.
yeah, right. And if you don't know where to start with brands that you like. There's a reason you like them and you spend your money on them. So
Right.
start with those, invest in those. If you like Apple, Apple's a good investment. Now they're not as big as a growth stock as they once were, but that's still a good investment. You like Nike, invest in Nike. You like Tesla, invest in Tesla. You've been driving Toyotas for the last 10 years, go invest in Toyota. You know what I'm saying? Like
Fords.
for whatever, you know what I mean? Now do your research first. Don't
Yeah.
just go, oh, I like Ford, I'm gonna go invest in
Throw some
Ford.
money.
But that's a starting point, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I like Toyota. Why do I like Toyota? Because they're reliable, they're the resale value, woo. Okay, cool. Let me go look at Toyota stock. Okay, if you go to Google and you type in Toyota stock, it's going to show you the 52-week high, the 52-week low. It's going to show you what it is right now. And then you can look at a chart over the last 6 months, over the last year, over the last 5 years, and you can see where that stock's been trending. And if that stock is down of the 52-week high and over the last 5 years is continuously going up, go ahead and make that investment. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Yeah.
Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? It don't got to be more complicated. And I think a lot of people make it more complicated than it needs to be. And then again, to go back to the point of embrace proven and practical strategies. Look at the S&P 500. You know what I mean? Invest in some of these different index funds that have been around for a while and that have got a proven track record of giving you a set amount of returns. You know what I mean? That's just the way to go. It's really not that hard. It don't need to be that hard. And with all else, right? Remember, being informed and adaptable in personal finance is the key to thriving, right? And I'm gonna repeat that: being informed and adaptable in personal finance is the key to thriving. You're gonna have to pivot sometimes, and everything that you do ain't gonna work. You just want to make sure that most of the time you win.
You striking.
Right? Like you're gonna have losses, you're gonna take some L's. I've made investments that didn't get a return on, but most of the investments I got a nice return on. You know what I'm saying? But those wins allows you to have those losses.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't take the chance at all, you're gonna stay where you at. You know what I'm saying? So take small risks initially, and as you get comfortable and you build up that safety net, then you can afford to start taking a little higher risks. You know what I mean? Do your due diligence. Don't just, oh, I'm gonna go take this chance because I got it. Nah, that's risky. That's not just risky. It's what's the
Being
word I'm looking
hasty.
for? Hasty. You know what I mean? It's
You're doing something with the lack of
showing
information.
negligence. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Being
a good one
reckless.
too.
Reckless was the
Yeah.
word I was looking for. But yeah, don't be reckless with your funds. That's the quickest way to run through them and to put yourself in a bind. But with all that being said, man, you got anything you want to add, Sid?
No, sir, I do not.
Hey, well, as always, man, we greatly appreciate y'all. We hope y'all like this episode. I think this is one of those ones that will resonate with a lot of people. Money is a very important topic, and I could tell through conversations I have with people, a lot of people don't really understand how inflation works. They don't know what it is. You know what I mean? They don't really know. And if you don't know what something is, how can you combat it? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I hope this, sheds a little light on it. At least sparks the interest for you to go, read up on, learn a little bit more, and adjust your financial strategy. You know what I'm saying? To combat against inflation and put you in a better situation, for you and your family. So with all that being
Absolutely.
said, man, if y'all don't do nothing else, keep it
Keep it
thorough.
thorough.
And we'll holler at y'all next time. Deuces.